Okay, here's part 2 for you guys. Just the last couple questions. All right. Make sure you read what it's asking you to do. If it's asking you to divide, then all you have to do is divide. If it asks you to factor, you do have to go and factor it at the end. So you got to be careful because it's a little different on the test than it is here. So make sure you pay attention to the directions. Reading is essential. Ask your English teachers. I'm sure they would love to hear that math is telling you the same thing. Okay, so first thing, I'm dividing here. Okay, this is a synthetic division problem. All right, we make our little box. Okay, again, I start with the opposite of what I see. I see a -4, so I'm going to do +4. Okay, what goes inside is my coefficients. All right, I go ahead, bring the first one down. Outside the box, just like before we multiply. Inside the box, add or subtract depending on what the signs are. So -10, +12, it's technically subtraction. So there's 2, I get 8, and then 4, so that is 38 there. Okay, remember when we write our answers out here, it's always one less power than what we started with. So I had x cubed, I am now looking at x squared, okay, and then you just go down, one power at a time, and then of course that last number is your remainder, okay? For number 17, in this case it says divide. Again, make sure you read the directions so you understand, are you factoring or are you dividing? What are you doing? In this case we're dividing, okay? So again, start with your opposite, draw your box, okay? Coefficients, all right? Bring down the first one, multiply on the outside, add on the inside, multiply on the outside, add on the inside, multiply on the outside, add on the inside. Okay, again, one power less. Okay, if it was to tell you to go ahead and factor it completely, you'd have to factor that. So make sure you pay attention. Okay, I can't stress that enough. Make sure you read the directions. Okay, and remember, when you do synthetic division, all powers need to be represented. Okay, so for example, if I was missing an x squared in that second one, so if that 17x squared was not there, in between that 3 and that 21, I would have had to put a 0, the placeholder for that x squared. Everything needs to be represented. Okay, number 18, that's a great opportunity to use a 3-star. Okay, that's a difference of 2 squares there, or difference of 2 cubes, excuse me. So the 3-star tells me to say, okay, figure out what the cube root is. In other words, what number cubed gives me what's there. So x, if you cube it, you get x cubed. 6, if you cube it, you get 216. Okay, signs should match the beginning. Now remember, square, opposite signs, multiply, always positive, squared. Okay. This I have to solve, so because I'm solving, should be pretty easy. The first one, each one technically gets set equal to 0, but this first parenthesis is easy, it's just going to be the opposite. So there's one answer. Nice and easy. The second one, a little bit more difficult because we're at these quadratic formulas. So, quadratic formula, just to review, opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay, a is 1 here, so I'm not going to put times 1. All right, I go ahead, I do this math really quick. All right, simplify what's underneath that radical. So I didn't do anything at -6 or the plus or minus yet. If I type that into a calculator, I get -108 underneath here. Okay, it's all over 2. What I have to do next is break down that -108. Remember, what I am looking for is the highest perfect square that goes into 108. In this case, it is 36. So -108 breaks into, okay, this is a little side note for you, breaks into 36, -1, and 3. Okay, if I multiply those together, I get -108. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm replacing that square root there. Okay, so I have -6 plus or minus. Okay, the square root of 36 is 6. Square root of -1 is I. Square root of 3, I don't know, so I leave it alone. Okay, and then finally, I'm dividing that by 2. Technically, there's a better answer than that, but you can stop there. If you can simplify farther on the test, go for it. I'll give you some extra credit. It doesn't mean you will have to, just if you can, go for it. Okay, the last one should be pretty easy. What multiplies to the last number adds to the middle. So it multiplies to negative 28 and it adds to 3. Okay, because I started with x to the fourth, my parentheses start with x squared. Okay, I believe it is negative 4 and positive 7. Okay, I go ahead and set both of these equal to 0 because, again, I am solving. So that means they need to have that extra step of going to 0. If it was just factor, you would have stopped before, but it doesn't say that. It says it's solve, so I made sure I read. Okay, when you solve, you move your forward. Okay, to get rid of a squared, you square root. Okay, remember when you take the square root, it's plus or minus. Okay, then I go ahead and do the same thing on this side here. Move my 7. Okay, I take the square root of both sides. Okay, I don't know what the square root of 7 is. However, I can handle the negative by taking out an I. So I will do that. And there are your answers. Okay, guys, overall, this test I don't think is too bad. However, it can be time consuming, so I strongly recommend to please be ready to go right when you come in. You really don't have a lot of time to be studying, okay? You need as much time as possible. So other than that, good luck. I will see you tomorrow.